This study was really in response to a big trend in solar manufacturing over the last decade. China sort of emerged as the leader. They now make about 70% of all panels in the world. And they also now are one of the biggest contributors to why we have lower cost solar panels today. But the concentration of solar manufacturing in China has caused a lot of concern in other countries around the world. And they're also concerned about competition with those manufacturers. So we've seen actions by the United States, for example. They've put on tariffs on importing solar panels, and that just increases the cost to deploy solar. So our study was interested in trying to understand what that's going to do in terms of the total cost of solar going forward. If we introduce more restrictions on the free flow of trade, talent, capital, what's that going to do for cost of solar in the future? You look at any other sort of consumer product like smartphones or TVs, these are often made in other places and they're traded around the world. And so you see a global cost curve. We actually decided to look at national cost curves. So what would the cost be within national borders? And the motivation for that was these changes in policies that we've seen over the last decade that are moving more and more towards nationalizing your production systems or making sure that all of the entire value chain is within a national border and sort of moving away from global value chains. And so it's really a response to that trend and policy shifts around the world that we decided to model individual country cost curves. And that's not been done before. So by doing that, we're able to see what might happen if you continue in this trend and you keep moving away from global value chains, and we get what you might expect, which is higher costs. Our goal is to continue to accelerate how quickly we can deploy low carbon technologies like solar power and wind power. And a lot of the pieces of the Inflation Reduction Act are really great for supporting that. Many of them are supporting the demand side, things like the production tax credit that was reintroduced. That's really good because that's giving people who are buying rooftop solar to put on their homes or utilities to put solar on the grid, it's giving them an incentive and a tax credit to do so. So those sorts of carrots are really good in helping spur demand for solar. But we still need costs to be lower than they are today to be competitive with things like fossil fuels. So again, putting on tariffs, say on importing the lowest cost panels we could get, is just a move in the opposite direction of that. It's going to counteract some of those credits and hinder the ability to get even lower costs than we'd otherwise have.